Today we have world famous DJ Steve Aoki, along with his co-founder in Metazoo, Mike Waddell, joining the program to talk about the future of Metazoo, collecting, and trading card games.
My name is Geoff Wilson. By day, I invest in tech companies, and at night, I invest in sports cards. Join me and my team as we help you profit from the hobby we all love.
Hello, sports card investors, and welcome to an awesome episode, because whenever we get to have Steve Aoki, the world famous DJ, on the program, it's always awesome. It's great to get to talk to Steve and find out what he's up to. And today we're going to be talking about his collecting and also his investment in the founding of Metazoo, a really awesome up and coming trading card game. Also, the founder of Metazoo, Mike Waddell, is coming on the program as well, joining Steve for what is going to be a great conversation. And this episode is brought to you by eBay. eBay is here for the card collectors with the trick for every trade, like advanced tools for price checking with Price Guide Beta within the eBay app and up to 50% faster listing with Image Scan. Learn how collecting just got smarter at ebay.com/trading hub. Guys, I am a big believer in Metazoo. I think it is a very intelligently designed game. I love the art, I love the cards, and I love the fact that it has been trending. It is so hot right now on the secondary market. I am a fan of it. I'm also a fan of Steve and Mike, the co-founders of this game. They're awesome guys to talk to and get to know, and you're gonna see what I mean here in just a minute. We had Steve and Mike on the virtual holiday that we did here on our Sports Card Investor YouTube a couple of weeks ago. It was an awesome conversation, one that I'm going to play for you right now. Enjoy. All right, everybody, I am now joined by two very, very special guests. You guys are going to be excited for this next conversation. First of all, let's bring on world acclaimed DJ and card collector Steve Aoki. Steve, welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, what's up, Geoff? How you doing?
There you go. It's not quite the intro you give at your shows. I don't have any of those smoke cannons here, but if I did, they'd be going off right now, Steve.
I think that's the next thing you need to do with Sports Card Investor, because you always, every time I watch your videos, you always add a little extra thing to your show. I think next you need to put like some poppers, like some fun stuff,
Okay, all right. Smoke cannons in 2022. We've got the directive, Steve. We're going to work on it for you.
Do it. Yeah. Awesome.
So you just, by the way, before we're going to talk a lot about Metazoo and trading card games and sports cards here in a second. But before we do, I know you recently had a birthday, and I'm so curious. How does the person who's like the center of all of these gigantic parties all over the world, how does he celebrate his birthday?
It's really humble. Well, obviously, like it was a Tuesday, so no parties, nothing like that, no clubs. It was great because it was just like really close friends and family. Of course, we had a cake. Got to have a cake. But actually, no cake was thrown.
Oh, wow.
In my house, it's in my house, man. I need to keep it clean. You know what I mean? Like, I have a very, very clean house. So just hang with friends, play games, ping pong, like paper, rock, scissor, poker, basketball. I just like to do like Dave & Buster style, like games with my friends and family.
This is fascinating. This is I was envisioning like, champagne bottles flaming and girls jumping out of cakes, but no, it seems like it's much lower key than that. That's fun.
Yeah.
And now, Steve, we're going to bring on one of your partners in crime, the co-founder of the game Metazoo, which has been an incredible success in the trading card space this year. Michael, welcome to the virtual holiday.
Happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
And this has been an amazing year for Metazoo. This trading card game has taken off like a rocket ship. And we're going to talk about that in the trading card game space. Tell me what this year's been like for you. And for those not familiar with Metazoo, maybe tell them a little bit about the game as well.
Yeah, I mean, so Metazoo it's a trading card game, but I think Steve and I are starting to think of it more as a multimedia franchise just because of all the different verticals that we're getting into. But it's about cryptids. We call them BCs, but it's cryptids, yokai, creatures of all sorts of folklore. And we created a trading card game that's kind of like a lightning rod for all of this. And it took off. I mean, these are stories and creatures and urban legends that we all grew up with. And so it's really resonated with people. And the year has just been nuts. I can't believe that it's only been, 7 months since we launched the Kickstarter product and started sending it out to people. But since then, we've released a first edition base set. We've released Nightfall. We're almost submitting our third set to the printers called Wilderness, which will be released in March. We've collabed with Topps. We've done. We're working on plushies. We're working on skateboards. I mean, it's just been a crazy year. Steve's got involved really early on, and we're having a blast. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been 7 months ago. That's incredible. Go ahead.
The big announcement is Walmart.
Oh yeah, Walmart too.
That is the biggest announcement for 2022. The Metazoo will be stocked in Walmart.
And we're working on this, guys. We are breaking news here on the virtual Metazoo going retail in 2022 in Walmart. Congrats, guys. That is huge. That is huge for the development of the game.
It's all about foot traffic, right? It's about exposure. So, we're going to be with Wilderness in over 1,000 local game stores worldwide. So, think like Australia, New Zealand, the UK, Europe, LATAM, Central America, the US, obviously, and Canada. But what Walmart gets us, and we're working on Target and GameStop, is it gets us exposure to just millions and millions of people in thousands and thousands of stores across the US. And that, even if at each Walmart only 20 people fall in love with Metazoo and they see our exclusive blister pack in the aisle, that's going to have a tremendous impact on the fan base and the community.
Yeah, and when I first got exposed to this game from you guys a number of months ago, one of the things that I thought was so cool about it is the fact that you did base the game on characters that are part of people's lives. They're part of folklore. These aren't just a whole new set of characters that no one's ever heard of before that you've created. You've based characters around cryptids, around these stories from the past. And obviously, Mothman is like kind of a central, character in the game, but you've got a lot of these different characters from different parts of the country. What are some of your favorite ones, or maybe some fan favorites?
So, people really adopted Mothman as the de facto mascot. But what ended up surprising me is that people really, really love the Loveland Frogman. And I think in addition to Mothman, it's probably one of the most popular ones. Obviously, Bigfoot has a huge natural following of just tens of millions of people around the world. So obviously, it's going to be a very popular cryptid in Metazoo. And then things like the Flatwoods Monster are definitely cult favorites in places like Japan, and in the US, it's growing to be a fan favorite as well.
Now, we don't have a Loch Ness Monster yet, right?
No, not yet.
We haven't got into that region, but that is
exactly.
Right.
So eventually we'll do like what Mike's talking about, yokai, the yokai island. That'll be all Japanese cryptids. So
and then
we'll do that whole world. And then obviously we'll go to Europe, and then Loch Ness Monster will be a big chase there. So it's just, we got to think of how many cryptids there are around the world throughout the history of human civilization, of what people imagine to see and draw on the cave walls to tell stories to their kids, and their kids tell their stories to their kids. And I mean, there's just so much history. It's like opening up a dusty book and kind of like going through the pages and going, oh my God, this is what people used to believe, like witches and all this kind of fun kind of folklore history. So yeah, I love it because I just get right into it. It's like Mike always talks about some of these the conferences that he goes to. He just went to a cryptid conference. And people are just they're not even there for Metazoo. They're there because they're obsessed on Bigfoot. Yeah. They're obsessed, Bigfoot exists, guys. I swear his foot's this big, and I saw him in the bushes behind my house. It's like
they'll have plasters of his footprint, and they'll be like, this is a real footprint from Bigfoot. And it's like, I guess so. Yeah, no. But that shows the power, right, Steve? I mean, it's independent of Metazoo, there are already tens and tens of millions of fans all over the world that just have to be introduced to Metazoo. And then the thing that they love, either it be Mothman or Bigfoot, that they already love, that they'll be like, oh, and now the Metazoo world has taken it in and reimagined it, and I can now love Metazoo as well. And it's not just the past, right, Steve? It's like every day new cryptids are being made because they're urban legends that develop very naturally every time someone, goes camping or sees some spooky, video surveillance footage. And so in the future, we're going to have new cryptids. And so it's human culture, right? And it's constantly evolving. So that's also the kind of the special thing is there are thousands that already exist, but this is an ongoing story. So, Metazoo is limitless, I think.
It's really, really cool. And I think maybe that's part of the reason why people have latched onto the game so much this year. It's incredible for me to think that I think you said 7 months ago, you were shipping your first boxes from Kickstarter, and the group that ordered them on Kickstarter, it was a relatively limited group. And 7 months later, you're selling tens of thousands of boxes through the promotion with Topps, and you just dropped Nightfall, and just the kind of, it's almost hysteria around this game. It's become so popular. I hear every time I go to a card show now, a sports card show, I see Metazoo being sold by some of the dealers at that show. Did you ever expect it to grow this way? Either of you?
Steve?
Yeah, I actually did. Because I got in pretty early, but I was tracking it. I really believed in this whole vision, like the fact that this is a literal gold mine IP. It's just an IP that no one's actually exploited and created. I mean, basically, Metazoo is the whole universe of cryptids, right? And when I jumped in with Mike, my vision as well is to expand as far wide as possible. Mike understands TCG. He's been growing it. He understands how it works, what the community wants, and it's clear that the secondary market is so abundant and so rich, and it's a very healthy community, very healthy marketplace for Metazoo that it's going to constantly grow. The biggest con, I'd say, is the fact that there just isn't a product for a lot of these kids that can't get it, which is why Walmart really solves that problem. So happy to hear about that, just for all the people that can't get Metazoo, because it's become more on the collecting side, more on the investing side than the game side. And that's where Walmart will fix that. Yep. But yeah, I really saw that this was going to really grow, not in a linear way, but it's going to move in a much faster trajectory. And for me, when I think about IPs that when I invest in something, I also look at it when I also create a company and why people follow my company. You have to have a rich roadmap. You have to have an offering that you're constantly giving to your community, and you have to take care of the secondary market. You have to make sure secondary market is rich and fulfilled, and it's being done. And we have so much in, not just clearly, we have so much of a roadmap in the physical, as far as all these sets and drops and promos that we're doing. The Dimmock promo, which is happening right now, with the Dimmock t-shirt and the Dimmock promo card, the Dimmock Metazoo drop. But getting into NFTs, we have a long roadmap in the NFTs. So side and side, we're going to be living in both worlds, the metaverse and the IRL physical space. So it's just exciting, it's just really exciting. And we're constantly, me and Mike talk literally every day.
And for you, Steve, you've been a big collector of sports cards and other trading card games, Pokemon, that type of thing. Was your background in collecting these other trading cards, when you saw this, did you kind of latch over? Did you see the potential because you've seen what Pokemon and other games have done over the years?
100%. So, whenever I get into any industry, I like to become the creator. I like to be a part of the industry on the back end. So right when I got into sports cards, that's when I developed the deal with Topps and did the Topps baseball set which, you know, we're doing all different kinds of sets now. And I got into Pokemon, and I really, really try to understand the space of on the collecting side and the investing side, not necessarily on the playing side, but more just like understanding, like, you know, like what the chases are, like how much these cost, you know, what the pull rates are, how do you sell these, like, you know, just understand the marketplace of how it works, and the community. Obviously, like I met tons of amazing people, including you, Geoff, since I got into cards. And it's been really fun. It's really exciting. And you, of course, just like art, just like things that you collect, you want to collect things that have a value to the market, you know, regardless if you sell it or not. You always want to know that there's someone that really wants it, you know. And you know, and I've been tracking things, you know, every time I go, and I'm an entrepreneur at heart. So I'm always looking at different things I can invest into, that can help build and grow and expand upon. And I saw what Mike was doing with Metazoo. And I was like, I really want to jump in. I love jumping in on the ground floor. I love developing and building out the vision far wider than, you know, like, you know, obviously 2 brains are better than 1. And me and Mike, we've like Voltroned in, and we just like powerhouse through, and now we're just thinking about how do we create more offerings to our community, expand our community, make it valuable to everyone. And, you know, obviously this is Sports Card Investor. So for all the collectors and investors there, do your research. You'll see it for yourself on the secondary, on eBay. That's where I find out how things are selling, what are selling, and track it. And that's what I do. That's exactly what I do. Follow it yourself, and have fun. Most importantly, have fun with it.
Well, you guys will both be happy to know that in 2022, we will be adding Metazoo to Market Movers. So you'll be able to track Metazoo cards and Market Movers as well. You'll be able to track your collection, Steve, and chart the values of all the cards. So that's going to be coming next year, along with all major trading card games. We're getting all those into Market Movers. We're excited for that expansion. So Michael, so I've got here with me theme decks, 10 different theme decks from Nightfall. So Nightfall was the release that you guys did recently prior to Halloween. It's got kind of that, you know, a little bit of a Halloween type vibe to the whole release. And we're going to actually give these away. Michael gave us these boxes, so I'm going to give these away to people watching. We're going to tell you guys how you can win these boxes here in just a minute once we wrap up with Steve and Michael. In fact, we'll go ahead and pick the winners, I think, in just a minute. So tell me a little bit about Nightfall, Michael, and then what's next? You've talked about Wilderness. Is that the next thing people should be watching out for? Tell me a little bit about those things.
Yeah, so we dropped Nightfall in October, and you know, I was like, we have to get it in October. It has to come before and through like the Halloween season, and we did it successfully. And I wanted an American Halloween set that focused on like vintage Halloween aesthetics. And like when I was talking to like the artists, I was like, think 1990s, early 2000s, elementary school stickers, like Halloween stickers. That's the aesthetic, right? So like, you know, Witch on a Broom, pumpkins, and I think we captured that really well. And it's going to be, I think, like one of those evergreen products where every spooky season that comes, you know, it's going to be something that people will seek after. And it'll be kind of a darling set in that way. And it's such a pure concept for a set, right? Halloween, spooky. It's very American. It fits really well with our plan, right? And then we have Wilderness, which is coming up in March, which is also a really pure concept. It's forest cryptids, it's forest magic, it's greens, it's based on, you know, it's coming right around when spring is. And so it's going to be one of those sets that people really associate with that time of the year too. It's going to have Bigfoot as the mascot. So it's like a Sasquatch, you know, darling set. And yeah, we're super excited. The printers are getting the files basically right now. And we'll start shipping it in January, and people are really excited. You know, we're doing a lot of green initiatives with this set as well, you know, to give back to the environment. And so I think people are going to really like it. It's our third set. And again, you know, it's coming out right around when Kickstarter came out last year. So that puts it into perspective a few months, how far we've come.
And it will be considered another first edition set. Is that right?
Yeah. So every set will have a first edition. And then we will have a second edition, which is like a second print run. And then if demand, requires it, we'll print a third. But each print run, each edition has different collectible facets, right? It'll have a different symbol on it so you can distinguish between a first edition and a second edition. It'll have certain slight changes in designs, and some other secret things that I can't really talk about, but that you'll find out as soon as you open the product. There are differences, right? The box toppers will be different, so on and so forth. Because, as much the second editions and the third editions are there for players, but we also want them to be there for collectors who want to, continue to collect every type of Metazoo thing that they possibly can.
Very, very cool. Very cool. And I know your concern, Michael, is creating the best game possible and not really, concerning with the secondary market as much. But Steve made some really good points earlier about how, it's important to take care of the secondary market. I've been watching the secondary market, and the growth has been absolutely wild. And obviously people now will look back on Pokemon, and they'll look at how valuable some of those first edition Pokemon releases are today and how collectible they are today. And who can predict the future, and who knows where all of this is going to go? But I personally have several of your first edition, boxes stored and that kind of thing, because I love what they've done on the secondary market over the last several months. And I hope that continues in the future. And I think going into Walmart is going to be a massive thing as well, as Steve was talking about, because just the additional exposure for the game. This has been great, guys. I'm going to get you out of here on this. Steve, I want to hear from you a little bit. You got your hands in so many different forms of collecting, from sports cards to trading cards to obviously Metazoo to NFTs to art. I've seen your incredible art collection. Are you bullish on this kind of collecting craze, this alternative asset craze that has really picked up across all forms of collecting over the last couple of years? Are you bullish on that continuing? And if so, why do you think that's going to be part of the future?
Yeah, I think you can't take that away from human lifestyle and culture. I think for the most part, what will happen is that in the future, collecting will become more digital. NFTs will become more part of how you flex, and we all collect to some degree, like I might be because I have more space in my house. I have 16,000 square feet to be able to put up paintings and things like that. Most people have an 800 square foot apartment. You can only, I remember when I had an 800 square foot apartment, you just put up like a painting that you might draw and put it up on the wall. There's just not much space to put stuff in. And like, that's when I got into cards. I'm like, amazing. This is basically art in my hand. Yeah. And some of the art in my hand is worth like, I mean, I didn't have anything worth $1 million, but like, we already know, everyone watching the show, that sports cards and certain collectible cards can be worth millions and millions of dollars, far, far higher than a lot of paintings, and that are massive. And now with NFTs, being able to buy things and sell things, where you don't have to actually have it. It's like in your, I call, your PWCC vault or wherever you vault it. It's like, it's in the NFT vault. You just like it's in a PWCC vault. And I remember selling a piece of CryptoPunk that I bought and I sold in 3 weeks time. And it's like, I didn't have to ship it. I didn't have to put bubble wrap around it. I didn't have to send it to a gallery. I didn't have to get like a Probstein to sell it for me, or someone else to sell it for me, or Golden to sell it for me. It's just more seamless. And I just think anytime you wear a shirt that's expensive, you drive a car that's expensive, you buy expensive shoes on your feet, because like you see some other kids wearing it at your school and you're like, well, I got to wear those. They're probably less functional than your dad's shoes that are like $200 cheaper, but you have to wear that's collecting, that's like wearable collectibles. Like we all do it at some level or degree, that there's like people like us three that are like, this is our world. This is our passion. It's what we do. We wake up and think about this, and everyone watching the show up to this point is definitely the same way. that we are. And there's a lot more of us. You know, there's a lot more of people like that. So you can't take it away. Just like every market, it goes up, and guess what? It goes down. And then guess what? It goes up, and it goes like it never just goes up, right? It's just the new down is hopefully is a higher up than before, if the market loves the products.
Yeah, and that's a great point. Yeah, and excellent point, Steve. I'm very excited to see what you guys do with future releases of Metazoo, not just physical, but also the digital stuff you guys have been doing with NFTs as well, because I know Metazoo's playing in that space now too. It's going to be extremely exciting to watch. You guys are certainly innovators in this space, and keep up the wonderful work, and happy holidays, guys.
Thanks so much.
Awesome. Thanks for joining the virtual. We'll talk soon. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that conversation. If you did, hit that subscribe button and that bell icon if you haven't already. Give the conversation a like as well. We certainly appreciate it. And we'll see you back in a couple of days with our next episode. Take care.